Is Linda Angio, and on behalf of the co-pastors, our Board of Trustees, we welcome you to Colby Memorial Temple for our Sunday service. To begin our service, Linda Ward will light 3 lights, symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Thank you, Linda. Now please rise for our opening prayer and remain standing for our first hymn. Infinite Intelligence, we welcome you into our hearts and souls this morning, that we may be a reflection of your love and light in all we do. And so it is. Amen. All right, our first hymn is number 4, Beauty for the Earth.
For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from the earth over and around us lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the beauty of each hour, the day and night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and stars of light. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human love, brother, sister, and child, friends on earth and friends above, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For thy church that ever lifted holy hands up, offering up on every shore for pure sacrifice. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Please be seated.
Located on the handout and in the front cover of the hymnal are our Declaration of Principles. Please join with me in reciting these principles together. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. The healing prayer is located in the back of your hymnal. Please recite with me the prayer for spiritual healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. We would like to have a moment of silence now to send healing to a few of our camp members who are in need of healing. Please join me in a moment of silence. Now, for those of you who would like to receive spiritual healing, please take a seat along the wall on either side and go to the next available healer. While the healers work, the rest of us will join in a guided meditation. Get comfortable in your chair. Feet flat on the floor if you are able. Hands resting on your knees, palms up or palms down. Take a few deep, slow breaths, releasing any tension you may be holding. And now, see yourself sitting on a bench, which is located at the edge of a beautiful park. It's a lovely spring day. There is a soft breeze, and the air smells clean and filled with the promise of new beginnings. As you sit there, your eyes wander to the right, and something just barely catches your eye. You look again and vaguely see something nestled back in the trees, something you never noticed before. You decide to investigate, so you stand and walk on the path towards the trees. As you get closer, you wander a short distance into the treed area, and you see a beautiful, quaint little cottage. You notice some flowers in bloom, filling the air with their perfume. The little cottage feels so inviting, so you decide to check it out. You turn the doorknob and step inside. You instantly feel the warmth and coziness of this space. It feels as if this house is giving you a warm hug. And although this little house is nestled among all the trees, the inside is filled with a beautiful golden light. You notice a big, beautiful fireplace boasting the sound of crackling wood. And across from it, a large sofa topped with plump pillows. Next to the sofa is a table on which a cup of your favorite coffee or tea sits waiting. You take the cup and sit down on the sofa and feel totally at peace with all that is. Slowly begin to relax, letting go of all tensions or worries. These few minutes are just for you. Just relax and breathe. You spend so much time doing, thinking. For now, you can simply be. Nothing you need to do. This practice is just for you. There is no way you can do this wrong. This is about you. Just peace. Just being. Give yourself permission to let go of all effort in your body. Let go of all tension. Give yourself permission to rest. Simply rest. Your body and mind are astonishing, useful parts of your being. And yet, still, there is more to yourself. The deepest part of you is there through it all, ever present. Present in the mind, even when the mind is resting, as in sleep. There is a thread that remains, the essence of your being. It is awareness. Pure awareness, unaffected by any state of body or mind, eternally peaceful and free. Your essence is peace. You are peace. Now, for a few minutes, give yourself the gift of sitting in the stillness of peace, in light of who you are and aware of your true being, a piece of the divine. Just relax. Be in that peaceful state. Unaffected by any part of your body or mind. Remember to sit in the light of who you are, of your true being. It's the divine. Know that you can come here anytime you need some alone time. This beautiful, cozy home will welcome you always. You realize it is time to go. You place your cup back on the table, knowing that when you come again, it will be full and waiting for you. As you close the door and step outside, you once again notice the sweet fragrance of the flowers. You make your way through the trees and back to the path that leads you back to your bench, and you sit. When you are ready, start to bring your focus back to this room, knowing that the peace that is you can be tapped into anytime you need it. Wiggle your fingers and toes and slowly open your eyes. If you have received a healing resulting in a correction or improvement, Please complete the yellow card in the hymnal or at the table in the back of the temple. You can return it to us in 3 different ways. Give it to one of the pastors at the back of the temple, place it in the donation plate, or mail the card into us. And it looks like this. We would like to thank our healers today for sharing their gift of healing. And they are from left to right, the Reverend Judy Cooper, Darlene McCormick, Daryl DeMerit, and Lori Carter. Thank you. Please stand for our next hymn, number 120, right in the corner. And Reverend Deb will lead us in song.
Wait until some bit of rain is you may do. Do not wait to shed your light afar. To the many duties ever near you now be true. Brighten the corner right in the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you just above our clouded skies that you may help to clear. Let not narrow shelter waiting by. On our own you may fall song and cheer. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone from afar who may by God across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Here for all your talent you may surely find a need. Here reflect the bright and morning star. Even from your humble hand the broad of life may be. Brighten the corner where you brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner. Please be seated. You did great on that one. You did better than I did on that one.
And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Joy Sagar. Joy is a certified medium, healer, and teacher here in Cassadaga. He is also a Vedic astrologer. Joy also serves as vice president on our board of trustees. Since he was very young, he began to recognize his special intuitive gifts and has always had an interest in spiritual studies and philosophies of all religions. Most of all, Joy is such a wonderful light here in Cassadaga, and we are very blessed to have him here. So please join me in a warm welcome for Joy Sagar.
Good morning, everybody. And I hope you can find Linda's voice pretty soothing through the meditation and so far. So she is a wonderful addition to our family of spiritualists. With that being said, before we get into the conversation, my just simple reminder is as we share these thoughts and conversation, just to recognize these are not for you. I have to listen and pay attention to these myself. So the walk the talk and talk the walk. continues. And I think that is the part of the excitement here. So as we were waking up this morning, how many of us had an inclination it's gonna be storming right in the morning? Right? Some of us can tell. I can tell because there are certain aches and pains in the body that just become so real that they are there. But what I'm leading into is to recognize there's a thought that I am continuing to work on and expanding, that everything is vibrationally resonating, existing at the same time. And to have a manifestation of something is just a mere sense of things coming in proportional alignment. So I've been up since about 4 o'clock, and when I woke up, there was no indication there would be a nice downpour just in a matter of a few hours, but the alignment created this experience, right? So our religion of spiritualism is sort of identified in 3 parts: the communication with the afterlife, the healing, and then the philosophy side of it. And all these things for me as a spiritualist are important. None of it is less or great, they're equally important. And for me, that has, over the past 20 years, have become a way of life in understanding or expanding. And this morning, if you were not in the Lyceum, you missed a very interesting conversation by our spiritualist friend Eileen, who was talking about spiritualist religion and whys. And I think that was a great thing for me to just be there walking in, to just understand nothing is out of alignment. We are always finding ourselves in the right placements if we are attentive to what's going on. So I will be talking about basically in aspects of the philosophy of this religion, because in addition to my gifts and abilities, or in addition to your own gifts and abilities, you might find more peace, more anchoring, should you understand the philosophy, because that is what keeps things going, right? The skill is dependent on the physiology of the body, because as the body is aging, growing, it has its shifts, and those abilities might slow down or become less in expression, but the philosophy what enrich, what powers the thought, and it takes us into a whole different direction. So my morning thought was also talking about the spiritual law of alchemy. If you have not heard the word, maybe you've heard the movie Full Metal Alchemist. And if you've not heard that movie, but understanding the word alchemy, alchemy is just transformation through energetic construct. And I was intrigued because the thought was there sitting through Spirit's guidance, and I was paying attention to it. And as I turned my face, the clouds came in, the storms came in, the downpour came in, and the house across the street has a nice angle to their roof, and there were big channels of water just coming, pouring, washing things away. And I was like, this is a wonderful Sunday. It's gonna be all nice and gray, and somewhere this is also conducive to the construct of the alchemy, because this chemical reaction was also cleansing the earth, the trees, the pollen, and etc. And as the rain backed off and it slowed down before I left the home, everything felt very refreshed. There was a charge in the energy that felt refreshed. And I was just like, could feel the refreshment within myself. And alchemy, in some ways, is that transformation that can take you from left to the right or right to the left. It all depends. It all depends in the middle, not in neutrality, not being neither here or there, but it all depends in the middle. And we're about to step into what that means. So there is a physical component to us in alchemy. Here we are. And there is a non-physical component to us, which is above and beyond. And the part of that process is one key element. If you understand laws of vibration, that everything is vibrationally happening in our lives, we would have it really down path, really easy. It's really not a 9 to 5 thing. It's really not a one way or the other is greater or smaller. It's everything is energetic. Energy can attract you, energy can repel you. It all is in the amalgamation of what's going on. So as I was sitting in there, our fellow friend Alan Watts was stepping into my mind, and then Neville Goddard was coming along with him. And I'm just sitting still and just paying attention. And that's my job as a spiritualist. Why I love spiritualism? Because it allows me to just be. I don't have to be anything more or less, greater or smaller. I can be just be. And expansion is a constant expansion is happening. So as I was sitting there, what occurred in the mind was, since this life or the vibrational spaces work with polarities in our world, we have to understand as above, so below, and otherwise. But if you understand the construct of the body or the energy centers or the chakra system, if whatever you may call it, somewhere between our heart and our crown is where this middle thing is. And the middle thing is undefined because every one of us are unique and different. Not one of us is same as the other one. We may have similar experiences, but our responses and cues are ever so slightly unique to us. And that's the other part. What I find in our practice is a lot of the times we're just trying to copy something that feels good about somebody else. And that could be a good starting point, but you have to understand you cannot be exactly that because you are not that person. So that understanding of that process is, so whatever is happening between the lower energy centers, right above mid-abdomen, pertains to the physical side of the world. The change or the transmutation starts to happen where the heart comes into place, the heart center comes into place, there your voice box of harmony comes into the place, the third eye, the intellect, the knowledge comes into place, and crown center is inevitably connecting us to the non-physical side. From there on, so even if you are 3'2" or 10'11", this calculation is applicable to everybody. It's not dependent on where these layers are in your physical spaces. If you understand that little simple spaces, the heart center is where a lot of the emotional body registers the feelings, and that's where we feel a lot of things. But our clairsentience, our knowing, enters through the solar plexus. So everything is interconnected. Not one is dependent or independent from each other. They're all working at the same time. And why we understand these parts of the process, to create a result or manifest a result, we have to be aware in some capacity what's going on here on the inside. And our Lyceum teacher was talking about this. So once again, next time you are here, join the Lyceum. There's always interesting stuff. As she was presenting, and this is a part of my dialogue as well, there's a lot goes on in our emotional bodies that we seldom try to understand what's going on there. We're always looking at the physical space, the ability of what the action is creating, but we're not paying attention to the emotional, mental bodies of ourselves. They need care too. And that's what our teacher this morning was emphasizing, which part of this creating the alchemy or mastering the alchemy says, I need to pay attention to all layers. I need to pay attention to all energetic centers, because the more I'm aware, the more I'm fluid with whatever is happening here. So it's not about control, it's about the management of what's going on. We cannot really control a lot of things. So if you have still time in your awareness to just perhaps sit back and understand all that we have experienced so far up until this very moment, including this space, this is an alignment of mixture of elements. Your desire to be here, your desire to experience something spiritual for yourself, or the uniqueness of our community and skills that we offer, something drew you in. But it was a combination of things that led you here. As simple as saying, some of us just roll in here just because the energy is such a loving, strong energy. It just pulls us in. It's just like vortex. It just sucks you in, and then we are just enjoying that spaces. And I know many people that have walked through this ground, they didn't come for a reading or anything. They were just here because something here gave them what they were looking for. They didn't know. We understand. But at the same time, this alchemical space is in this emotional space where the heart and the voice box is there. So speaking things into reality, you've heard that phrase before in some variation or other. I did this to myself, or I asked for it and I have to now deal with this, right? That's an alchemical reaction because we, unbeknownst to ourselves, pulled in the vibrational, became the magnet of drawing that experience in, or spoke something into existence. In some ways, good or bad, that's a whole different construct. But we're talking about that ability of experiencing thought creates. And that's the part of the understanding of alchemy in this aspect is whatever's going on in here sends out a cue to the universe what we are looking for. Sometimes we don't know what we're looking for, but we ask for it subliminally, and we get the subliminal result more than the verbal result. Right? I'm pretty sure most of us can say we got an experience we didn't ask for. We asked for something else, but it led somewhere totally different direction. Right? Why? We don't understand the mechanics. But once again, it's a growing organism. Our awareness, our soul is a growing organism. If you could call that, you're always becoming more. We all are becoming more than where we were. The body, the envelope could be saying a whole different story, but the soul is always expanding. It's never stopping, it's never ceasing, it's always going on. And that's the part, is because always seeking the next lesson, the next tutorial, next guide, next someplace to be. So here's a trivia question. As the service was starting, any one of you heard bird chirping noises? They came out of the music. They were not there. So just a couple of days ago, I took the wash out of the dryer and the door came back and just slammed me right on my nose. And I heard those birds. There was 6 seconds delay, but I heard them. I just went. And somewhere I have a pain receptor tolerance, so I just moved past it. I went on, did my things to do. And then next day, I was like, there's like a red mark on my nose. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't even examine my nose, and I was feeling it. So did I ask for it? No. The door wanted my companionship. They just looked for me, and there it was, right in my trajectory. But I was amused by this bird because that little cartoon that we saw growing up, they always had the little birds just chirping around. And I felt that later on when I touched my bridge of my nose, I'm like, this is hurting. And that was it. But I just went on because somewhere in my makeup, I'm impervious or indifferent to pain. But I just moved on. But I was realizing, and I was just simmering in it, like, what about the now it's become a humorous memory for me, even though it still hurt for a few days. But that music was there for a reason. It's just to trigger that aspect in me. And I'm pretty sure you all have done something like that. You know, you just had your own experiences. But going back into the part of creating this alchemical manifestations, you have to understand thoughts becomes things. Our vibration dictates what we are experiencing. And we have, somewhere has a remote control to it, not the superior control to it, but remote control to it. We can slow it down, we can speed it up, or we can put it on pause, we can delay it. But somewhere, once things start to move, it is rarely possible to change the outcome or the direction. So you might as well go through it. And that's what I have to say. If you find yourself, you are in a somewhat of a coming up circumstance, there might be a possibility that you can take yourself or remove yourself out of it. But I rest my peace in saying there's some learning, soulful growth in that journey. We can shorten it by quickening our awareness, but it would be very nice to just kind of walk past through it and just take the lessons that might come in a different shape and a different time when we are least wanting it. In this instance, you would at least know, oh, this is not so good. So you just go through the motion and pace yourself, because this transmutation, this alchemy is going to create its beauty in its own way. We just don't get to see it in our way, maybe it's in a greater way that we understand. Equally, we have all gone through some interpersonal circumstances. We didn't ask for that, or our intentions and the purpose was an alignment, but still it led us in a different place. But we have to understand there could be a little one thing off that led us in the direction. And we have to pay attention to that, because if we are not paying attention, we will inevitably repeat that experience. But the wisdom says once could be enough. And you learn one time and then try not to do it again. And how to not do it again is you register it how it felt. Because our emotions do speak a very true language. What feels good, what doesn't feel good. Being in a space is conducive to you or not, it's a whole different space. You know, it's a learning curve. Sometimes you may not have the ability to get out of there, but once again, you can always shorten the duration of that experience. So is there. We were just having a class, a little closed group class, and there was a wonderful thought is there's always a door and window available to you to find an exit. And I learned that many years ago because that thought was given to me. Joy, you always have a choice. It may not look the best to you, but you always have a choice. And somewhere it became part of a process and a journey for myself. If I'm finding myself where I'm not serving my spirit for the highest outcome, I stop there for a moment and say, what options do I have? And I just walk away from that thought because I do not know how it's gonna come to me or which direction is gonna start appearing. But inevitably, it doesn't lead me wrong most of the time. And I will be very much assured it will do the same for you. Pay attention, listen to it. So going back to the process of laws of alchemy, they are saying is that we are aware of our physical environment, if we are aware of our emotional spaces, if we are aware of our knowledge and intellect and connecting to the source in its essence, where there is no need to define pure or impure or any definition, the source is source. It is clear as it gets. It's our filters that convolute things because our wants, our needs dictate a lot of that. So understanding these processes refine our ability to co-create, manifest the results for ourselves. So if you're at something and not succeeding in a certain outcome, how about just stepping closely with your own self? So spiritualism over these many years have become very evident to me. It is a religion of self-discovery. And it pushes us to find things about ourselves, good, bad, ugly, pretty, indifferent, to discover within ourselves that sits there for refinement. And I am also very convinced this is our classroom, not the other side, not the afterlife, not the next lifetime. This is a classroom. Do your homework now and don't wait till the recess. Don't wait till the break is there. Now, while I'm talking about this alchemy, if you have gifts of your own nature, healing, psychic abilities, mediumship, this alchemy is where everything is happening. If you understand the construct or the physics behind it, it's everything is in the chemistry of the brain that is inducing what we are experiencing. The little bruise on my nose didn't register unless I pressed it, but if the brain receptor says, ouch, that hurts. The nose was still there. It didn't fall off yet. But when we are doing this work of healing and mediumship or any other demonstrating any gifts within ourselves, the chemistry in the brain is what is inducing what we are supposed to feel as a receptor. Even though the feelings enter through our solar plexus, the first quick response is, how does it make me feel? And I think that becomes a fundamental foundational aspects of awareness is my feeling place still open? Am I feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling? If you become numb to the feeling, there's more help out there that will possibly shift that for you. Even the healers, when they're scanning or working through you, they are definitely relying where they feel good. The energy is moving, energy is blocked. They're always constantly in our vibrational spaces to assess what feels good to them, and they know how to focus or open the intent of passing the healing through there. And the divine energies work through creating that alignment to produce a good result. In my simple sitting back here through the meditation, I can probably point who was receiving or who had already benefited from the healing in the session. And that's, once again, that's part of that awareness, the openness in receiving the feelings as a response system. So, not feeling the little clink clang from the door on my nose. That's not the point, but the point is my mind was engaged in a thought and I just walked away from that space, and we all do that. Life has to move forward, so sometimes we repress our emotions or our experiences to deal with them later or come back to them at a later space where we are in the right construct of the mind. That is a whole process that creates the chemical reactions to give these cues, coping mechanisms, what you would understand in plain language. How do we cope with things? We'll come back to it later. This is not the right time to address this, and which is okay, but don't forget to come back to that space, because it goes in the pending box and it stays there till you deal with it. And I know we are all a work in progress is there. So I bring the sense of alchemy and alignment, and my thought that was given to me a few months ago to just work on it. I'm still working on it. Everything exists simultaneously. How we experience it or how it jumps at us is a matter of alignment or coming in a certain sequence for ourselves. And I'll give you this thought process. I do get to spend a good part of my time in the nature. Sometimes I'm looking at an alligator or a bird or a bee or a wasp or something. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was standing in a tree and I just saw this little dried up bud fall off. But right behind was a little citrus coming up. So you would understand seasons, at the fall time, the leaves go down. But what if that was the season of fall for that flower to just fall off? Not knowing the time and space, but let the orange come right behind it. And that was the springtime for orange to just come into that creation. So all seasons in our lives are happening at all times. And if you don't understand this construct, tomorrow morning when you're brushing your hair, think about it, how many came along with the brush or the comb and how many stayed on your hair. Life is happening all the time. It is not waiting for one season over the other. It's always happening. And apart from that moment of just looking at this, it was fragrant to begin with. The orange blossoms are exceptionally fragrant. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So it was stimulating me in many different sensory cues, but I saw that little thing drop off and that just kind of had that moment of like, oh, this was its fall season and it gave birth to something more. So I haven't gone back to look at the orange blossom because I know where the tree is, but that's the part of aha, because we all learn our ahas in an ongoing manner. So it's not to be discovered in a book or a line somewhere. They're within us and we're just coming upon them on different stations of our life. So be a little bit more feeling person, be a little bit more expressive person when it comes to your feelings and emotion. It might take you through an interesting ride in your life. So don't guard yourself, don't hold yourself back. Because if we are not discovering it now, think about maybe there's a beauty in itself and embrace that. So spiritualism over the 20 years continues to excite me because this discovery within me is not limited to any textbook. It's as limited and unlimited as I can allow it to be. And with that being said, thank you for allowing yourself to listen to me for this long. And I am grateful that you became a part of my experience today. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. All right. During our musical interlude, we will be passing the basket. We thank you in advance for your generosity. Please take an attitude of prayer. Infinite intelligence, please bless these gifts and all our days. Use these gifts where they are needed most. And with this we say, Amen. Now a few announcements. Next Wednesday, May 3rd, our message bearer is the Reverend Dawn Cassidy. Next Sunday, May 7th, our guest speaker at our 10:30 service is Reverend Dr. Sheldon Ganberg. Every Sunday, we have Adult Lyceum, also known as Sunday School, from 9:30 to 10:15 a.m. in the Andrew Jackson Davis Building. Next Sunday, May 7th, our Lyceum speaker is Reverend Diane Davis. Today, from 2 to 4 p.m., Reverend Dr. Lewis Gates will have a workshop, Intuitive Flower Readings, in the Andrew Jackson Davis Buildings. Our next Gala Day is May 13th, Spirit of Tranquility Gold Day. Gala Day, I'm sorry. Spirit of Tranquility Gala Day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll have speakers, healers, readings, many vendors, and much more. So please join us for a fun-filled day here in Cassadaga. To participate in absentee healing, please print the name and first initial of the last name of a loved one, friend, or a pet in our healing book at the corner of Colby Temple. Flyers for camp events are at the back of the temple. We have an activities calendar and a church bulletin in your hymnal for you to take home, also or give a friend, and they look like this. And there's extra ones in the back if you need more. Also, you can visit our website, cassadaga.org, which has all the monthly information as for other upcoming events. Now, if you would please stand for our next hymn on 179, This Little Light of Mine. once again led by Reverend Deb.
And this one goes with the last hymn right in your corner. Of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. The world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All right, let it shine.
Please be seated. Now for the message portion of our service. And it gives me great pleasure to bring up our speaker, Joy Sagar.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to thank Linda again for pronouncing my last name as it should be. She made an effort, so I'm recognizing. Thank you. Thank you. So this hymn has come in the last several places. I've been a speaker, and it's not by request. It was the one hymn my mom would sing. We would be retiring for the bed and killing time, just trying to get us off our schedule. She would sing. So there's a good memory here for me. So as I come to you, just I hope you remember the colors you chose, the clothes you wear, because that's how I go for that. And that being said, I would like to work with the lady with the eyeglasses on the top and black tank top. May I hear your first name, please? Aaron. Aaron, as I'm connecting with you, I observe your auric field, and it's pretty active, and which is basically, it should be everybody's, but as I look at it, I feel like you're processing options in this time for yourself. And a part of that is maybe slowing down the process. And once again, pay attention to your feeling, not so much the logistical side of it is there. And as I see that part, I do feel there's a guidance from the other side. There's a man that's stepping forward. I feel like he was very methodical in his life, like he would go step by step. In other words, he would definitely read the instruction manual before he works on the project. And I think he's generally reminding with a sense of humor that don't forget to read the instruction manual. If you already observed some of your own life lessons, please pay attention. So he's just humorously presenting, but I feel like he's also a very open-hearted man, where I feel he did have a religion and faith in his pocket, but I don't think he harped upon it to everybody. I think it was personal to him, and he's recognizing that your unfoldment is also happening. So you need to stay true to your life. So part of that, his guidance is there as well. But I also feel like he keeps making me feel as though he's a very properly dressed man, clean clothes, iron shirt, and it's tucked in his hands. And I know he's like an inch-long belt that goes on his waist. And part of that is he says, I'm still like that. I haven't changed much. But I think this is just how I'm capturing his embodiment on the other side. But I think his fondness for you is very evident through my own spirit space, because it just runs towards you. So please recognize that about yourself and your journey, and know he's withstanding as a support system for you, but he understands you're powerful on your own. So don't dismiss anything. Please pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. And thank you for being here. Thank you. The gentleman with a light blue shirt with a black t-shirt on the inside, you just looked at your shirt. I think it's light blue. No, yours is dark blue. There's a gentleman right behind. I know my colors. This is also my. my So I'm speaking to you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As I'm working with you, I'm very much aware there's a gentleman that steps in for you as well, which I contribute being your father. And I also feel there's a part, I feel he has a journey where he, in some part of his life, was not so close with the family, and I think things were different later on for him. But he's just presenting, and he's saying is you have become quite like him in personality. I feel you're taking a lot of that space, but I also feel there's a mother that gives me the vision. She's calling out your name while you were little to come and have your meal. The food is ready, and I think she's just calling you in, which I feel like you would have been an active child because I just see you in shorts and just shoes, just running in the neighborhood. But I think this is something I think she would have done very regularly. At dinner time, everybody's getting called in. I know there are two loved ones that are presenting and competing for each other's time here in my communication. But also at the same time, I'm more in tune with your mother rather than your dad. So I'm being very straightforward here, but her sense of this herding business or calling everybody. And I feel like she's saying is if you're really becoming low key for yourself, and I feel she's saying is your family gathering or staying connected with your own subset of family, please pay attention because it is still your responsibility to herd these people and make them gather together sometime during the year. So she doesn't qualify which time is better than the other. So as everybody is on agreement, I feel this is important this year for some reason. There's something special about this upcoming few months is there, and she's just saying that you will be the host. So think about it and let it flow as easily as it goes there. I also feel that she would have reminisced about her loved ones as they were have passed on, because I feel like she somewhere understands disclosure or coming through the dreams or giving evidence of life after death was evident for her in her own experiences. And I felt like she would have talked very gently, not very hard bound, but I think she would bring up those memories that somebody came through my dream or somebody has come along. So I do know that she understands afterlife. She understands the construct. And my part of passage to you is I feel as though what she's saying, and I've used the term I'm feeling this, I feel you're having your own little tidbits of aha through your own memories, like you feel the presence of your loved ones or their support or their communication. And she's saying, is this going to get better as many years go along the way for you? Because things were different from her understanding when she got up there after passing. The family was there, my construct of familiarity was there. And I feel like she was enriched by her passing rather than disappointed with what was going on. And their afterlife really gave her a little spring up in the spiritual construct for me. But I feel like she's saying is you are receiving those signs and signals at your own level. So enjoy them, ask for more, or get a little bit more close to them. And she is so happy that you are at least at the minimum acknowledging this. So thank you for your journey and be excited for this special family gathering because I think your dad's going to be there with you as that happens. So thank you for being here. Wonderful. The lady in the green here, how are you? I hope you have a wonderful vocabulary of expression. I feel as though you have really put up a fight for yourself. And I think it is the time to use those words in expressing yourself. So not talking about the greens and the blues and whatever that is. I feel you need to use your words as vocabulary in expressing the emotions, not the logic, not the reasoning. And I know the lady that is coming to you, I feel like she's a relative on your mother's side of the family. And I feel like she was very supportive of the children in your generation. Because I feel like she was so easy to talk to as opposed to the parents. And I feel this access of communication was always there. And what she's saying is you're about to step into my shoes, where you may become a point of access to people that need voice or they need a parlay of conversation is there. But also she's saying to me is you need to start saying, I love you more often. You say that, but she's saying is say it generously. And I feel this is very genuine and very sincere. And I feel like she loves you very dearly in that space. So please listen. It's your choice as you express it, but at least pay attention there for me. I also feel there's a part of you could be a very hands-on person, that you're not shy of putting your hands to the task and being very hands-on with things that you have to do, that could, somebody's phone's talking. But acute listening here. So I feel what I'm seeing is I feel there are a couple of projects that are half done. And I feel like you may want to pick one thing up and finish it. I feel like it's a very artsy, crafty looking thing for me. But I feel like she's saying is this is the first one of things that are still needing some completions there. So as I see this part, I feel like there are 2.5 projects there at home pending to be completed. And I feel you go with the first one that is the oldest one. You know, there's a term in management system, last in, first out. So pick the last one to finish it up. And I think you'll feel good about it, but I also feel new projects there for you. I also am wanting to conclude my conversation with you by saying, I hope you love canoe or being in the water and just following the stream. Somewhere I just feel this is like you can just hold your paddles and just let the stream guide you wherever it's leading to. And I think it's a very nurturing place for you. There is some fear of element and environment, but I feel like you're very much in your natural spaces and the healing part of the process. So if you are allowing yourself to be there, and that's all I'm asking is to be in that space, because I do feel streams of water and nature is just something that balances you out very nicely. So thank you for being here. Do we have allowance for one more? I appreciate your attention again, and thank you for being a part of my experience. Thanks for allowing Spirit to express. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. All right. We would like to remind everyone that we will have our afternoon message service from 12 to 12:30 right here in Colby Temple. A group of mediums and student mediums will be giving spirit greetings to as many individuals as they can reach. Everyone is welcome. We encourage you to visit our bookstore, which is open 11:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. today, and Monday through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please rise for our closing hymn, number 203, Let There Be Peace on Earth, and remain standing for the closing prayer. Infinite intelligence, thank you for your abundant love and care for us, and fill us with your wisdom and compassion for others. May you bless us with your never-ending love and fill our cups with joy. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day and week.
You did wonderfully, wonderfully, and you could great, and you even told people to sit and see it, and I forgot to.
How's it going?